What's up, you blood-sucking vampires out there? This is your favorite Helsinki vampire, Jyrki from the 69 Eyes, and I'm blowing it up on Capital Chaos TV.
You are number 666.
How are you doing, Jyrki?
Hey, how's it going, sir? Yeah, I'm good. I'm just like so excited, and like they say modern days, stoked to be in this position of returning back to the States to play some rock and roll for you guys.
And when you say back to the States, you are in fact back from the dead. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a decade since the 69 Eyes played last time in the U.S. Naturally, we've been around. I mean, we have recorded a couple of albums and we've been touring around the world, but we haven't just returned back to the States. So last time we played there was like 2009. So I thought that the good title for this tour, American tour, would be Back from the Grave. And obviously it fits. We are the Helsinki Vampires, you know. We are the band that time forgot. We are the band that refuses to die. So, you know, that's a perfect title for that. And I think overall the timing seems to be pretty damn good to return over there. You know, like seems like rock and roll is sneaking back into your culture. Motley Crue, The Dirt, movies out. Some younger bands like Great One Fleet and bands like that are, you know, being played on radio. So I think, you know, it seems like those kind of things, maybe it's like the Motley movie left like backdoor open so the 69 Eyes can sneak in back again. And you know, the times feel right and we're excited. And according to response that we got by far, the tickets are selling really fast, and you know, fans are excited to, you know, to see us again. And obviously, you know, there's people who've seen us before, like a decade ago, but I know there's a generation or even two who have heard about us, who have, you know, been inspired by the 69 Eyes, and now they have finally the first time to see us alive.
I've noticed with, I mean, your band has been around for at least 30 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like we've been around for a while, and it's this year is exactly 30 years, and you know, it's kind of like I don't know how to put it out. I have no answers, and I don't know if it's cool even, or is it like lame or horrible. But we are actually original 80s band. We started in 1989. You know, those days when Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and Billy Idol, The Cult, all the great bands were still roaming this planet, and you know, that was the reason we started our own little glammy rock and roll band in Helsinki. And you know, we've been going on since that 30 years with the same guys and everything. And you know, it's just like I don't know. It's like I earlier said, I think, you know, we're just like the band that the time forgot.
One of the great things about bands of your era that are still around and pleasing fans is that you see, you'll see three generations. You'll see the father, you'll see the son, and sometimes you might even see the grandson, all three enjoying the same artist at the concert. Have you experienced much in the way of that?
Or would it rather be from the vampire's point of view, like you see mother, daughter, and granddaughter or something like
Absolutely.
That? Well, yeah. So yeah, sure. That's the case, and you know, like people listen to music in let's say phases in their lives, like. Teenager, you discover something, and that then you forgot it when you're turning into your 20s. But those things that got you excited as a teenager, those things are sometimes the things that, you know, last longest. So you can always return to them. So for many people, the 69 Eyes have been the first darker rock band or introduction to goth rock or glam rock or something, and then they return after a decade or two even to see us live and say like, hey, I used to like you guys when I was a teenager. That obviously makes me feel kind of or when I was like decades ago. So it's their nostalgia trip, and that of course makes an artist feel kind of weird when you experience it first time. But like we've been doing this so long, so there's different kind of generations, and always, which is kind of the coolest thing is like every time we return, we release a new album and we start touring again. There's always in the front row like the young generation of fans, like brand new people, brand new kids who just have bought their first leather jacket or black clothes or put on black nail polish or something like that. You can notice from them that they are excited, that they have dressed up, and this is their first this kind of rock and roll experience, that they are sort of like like experiencing that what I was experiencing in the early 80s when I went to see the first shows. So that's always, that keeps it fresh. And since we have the elements in our music that we basically you can try to categorize us, but we are not definitely straight up gothic rock or glam rock, hard rock, and punk or metal. We have elements from all that stuff, but I think it's in the end it's easiest just to call it rock and roll.
Rock and roll is multidimensional.
Yes, it is. But what you actually just said, it's also I think right now it's interesting times in the heavy metal scene, because some bands are fading away, let's say that, or retiring or something like that, and then those bands like us, there's many of metal bands who have been playing decades after decades, and seems like they are getting more bigger and bigger. Like for instance, Overkill released their 22nd album right now, and so I've heard, and I think it feels like they are the record is damn good, and the band is more respected than ever. The same thing is, for instance, my personal recent discovery is a German metal band, Creator, which obviously, of course, I know them always, but I just started to pay attention, and they're damn good. And I think they are a kind of band that is really respected. They've been playing even longer than the 69 Eyes, and then they are doing it still. So I think especially rock and roll and in metal, like in blues rock earlier, you just play as long as you can, and that's you're more respected you are, So it's cool.
You have a new manager, which is the singer and his wife from Devil Driver. How excited are you to work with a new team?
That is fantastic. I mean, being a vampire rock band for 30 years, and all of a sudden we got fresh blood like that into our, team, and such a great people. I mean, that is amazing. I've been around having a couple of side projects in the United States during these decades that the 69 Eyes haven't been coming out to play here. I recently released a solo record and toured with my LA-based band exactly a year ago in the West Coast, and I think I've done something right, because Des Fafara contacted me and asked about if we needed a management, and he wanted to start to manage the 69 Eyes, and that was the coolest thing for a decade, seriously, for us. So this and the Oracle management has brought us a lot of cool things, new ideas, totally resurrected the 69 Eyes, and the first thing what he wanted to do was to put the 69 Eyes back on American map, and that exactly is what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time when we start to tour there.
We're going to talk a little bit about the new album. Can you? Where will you be? Has it all already been written, or where are you recording?
Yeah. We have recorded it already, and just before our American tour, it will get ready. It's been mixed by right now, and it comes out in the beginning of September. The first single comes out right after our American tour, and it's like I think, seriously, and you know, I'm thinking like it's probably the best record we've ever done, even though it's like we're done. That's our 12th record for Christ's sake. So it's nothing new for us. But I mean, having the new team, looking forward to the States again, and also this fucked up world has something to do with it. It has really, it's inspiring. You know, when to live in this world, it's very inspiring for me to come up with some cool things for the album, and but there's a safe dose of like cult movies and you know, like cartoon rock and roll there as well, and horror movie references. So it's a 69 Eyes album, but it's really fresh, very rocking, raw, and powerful. So I'm very excited to return to the States to play that material after this sort of like warming tour that we're going to do now.
Have you been to Graceland, and have you gone to visit Johnny?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, of course. I mean, I did my pilgrimage about 3 years ago. I did the whole Memphis experience. I went to Graceland, Sun Records. I hang out on Beale Street every night till the last call in those dive bars with the blues artists playing, and that was the coolest time of my life. And I'm super happy that we have a chance to play in Memphis, first time ever, and we're actually going to have a day off after the show, so you know where to find us.
And have you gotten a chance to go visit Johnny Ramone's grave? I believe it's in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course. I've been there too. But I mean, it's like not like I admit that I'm part of. I was like I thought it was exciting to go to visit artists' graves at certain age. Jim Morrison's grave in Paris was probably the first one, and then you do these things. I don't think Graceland as Elvis' grave. I sort of think just to get close to Elvis there. And so to continue from that, it's like nowadays, you know, like that's actually sort of misunderstanding that or something that continues, because there's a couple of, I've done some photo shoots at the cemeteries, especially like in New Orleans. They are like part of the history, and there are places to visit because they look so unique, and there's some interesting stories. So I've done a few photo sessions, pictures have been taken of me at the cemetery. So sometimes people actually really think that I want to go to every cemetery which is around, especially like if I play in some town, people come to like, hey, do you want to come to this cemetery? And I definitely don't want to go there because, you know, it's like now it's getting closer that I, you know, like when I was in my 20s. So I those days are over, man. I've seen enough.
Do you recognize places from movies that you've seen while on tour?
Oh yeah, that's actually that's kind of like a hobby. Like if I really like some movie, obviously I wanna go to see. You know, it depends. And if I go to some town or place that I haven't been before or have been, I always checked out like what movies have been shot there, and it's exciting to see those places. For instance, like actually that kind of place was like in Hollywood, where a friend of mine knew where Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed. There's a short street just behind Hollywood Boulevard, pretty close to Chinese Theater, and there's actually the house where all the Nightmare on Elm Street, the first movie, happened. So that was like interesting to go to see that. You know, in that way, it's like, of course, I'm a freak, I'm a geek. I love all that stuff. You know, like I'm fucking nerd. So you know, like most of rockers are. I'm not a collector guy, but you know, like I love all that stuff, and that's the spice of my life. And especially as I can travel as a rocker, naturally, all these movie sites and popular culture, whatever happens. Also, art museums are the things that I'm interested in. And the coolest thing in my life ever is gonna happen in 2 weeks, which is to be on the road in America, because that's like thinking of a rocker, dreamer, what I was and still I am, like dreaming about like all these things, reading about Elvis, Ramones, everything like that, and you know, like as a kid, and then you have a chance to come to play rock and roll in the States for American fans, tour in the country, see the country, visit those amazing cities, going to Graceland, going to Hollywood, going to Seattle, even Amityville is on our tour list, which is like, I never thought I'm gonna, like, it's kind of cool to see that, like, oh wow, we're gonna play Amityville like one of these days. So you know that's it's gonna be the happiest times of my life. I experienced it a few times before, but it's coming back in my life again. So that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm been always doing this, and this is my lifestyle.
What bands have you not yet toured with that you would like to?
There's a lot of like I'd love to play, like, for instance, with Body Count. That would be fantastic. Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson. We played with the festivals, at the festivals with those guys, but it would be pretty cool to tour with Body Count or Marilyn Manson or Rob Zombie. That would be pretty killer package. Why not Devil Driver will be fantastic. My favorite, one of the bands, which is like, it's kind of newy band, sort of, but my favorite band, which I've seen for a while, I was at the Ozfest in the New Year's in LA, and I saw Zach Sabbath. That was fantastic live band. It's like, I don't know, it somehow reminded me of Iggy and the Stooges, but of course playing Sabbath. But it has such a raw power going on stage, and it's a trio. So that was like the best rock and roll, you know, experience for me for a while. So, you know, yeah, that would be pretty extreme to have a chance to play with Zach Sabbath as well.
Have you been mistreated in the past as a support act? Have you had to deal with some strange egos and strange, you know, restrictions?
No, we're never. No, even we even actually we played a couple of times at the festivals with Kiss, and they even, you know, like the weirdest thing that we were expected that, okay, we probably will get thrown out right when they arrive, but then we were like in our at the festival, at the backstage rooms, and then I noticed, like, hold on, that looks like Gene Simmons. So they were actually, we were next to each other, and that was like not a big deal. So yeah, well, we never ran into anything like that, and but that's also like I love that fact that it's still exciting to share backstage area at the festival with some artists that have inspired you and like who are rock gods to you. That's always that's one of the coolest things still in being in the band as well.
Who have you toured with in the past that you would really like to tour with again?
We did a 6-week North American tour with Cradle of Filth sometime 13 years ago or something, and that was the best. Like, I'm being repeating this phrase, but that was the best time of my life back then. That was the coolest tour ever. So I mean, I would love to do another tour with Cradle of Filth.
And your band is all original members, is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we've been pretty stupid not to change any members, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. It's just like it seems like it's a regular thing that if you're having a metal band, you change singer once a 3 records or something like that, and every other member can come and go if they like, and so on. But I mean, I guess we just sort of like we were born too early or something. We just didn't get that, and we just kept the same guys, Well,
what 3 songs by other artists would be a good introduction to what the 69 Eyes are all about?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Okay, let's start with Elvis, Heartbreak Hotel, The Doors, Light My Fire, Glenn Danzig, Long Way Back from Hell.